Hi everyone, this is Narelle, the non-crafty crafter, and today I'd like to show you how to create a split letter monogram using Cricut Craft Room. The first thing I've done is place a rectangle from the Cricut Craft Room Basics cartridge onto my mat, and I'm going to use that as a guide for placing the rest of my images. And I make this rectangle the same size as the inside of the picture frame that I'm going to be using. I'm going to change the preview colour of this layer to white, just so that it's easy to see the other objects that I'm going to be placing onto my project. So I click on the button that says Layer Colour, and I'll select white from the basic colours, and then press Apply. Now I have a second layer on my project, and this is where I'm going to be adding the text from a monogram. So I make sure that that layer is selected, and I click on the text, the Add New Text Box button, and this is where I would be typing in my text. Now I've already done that, so I'll select Done there, and you can see over on the right here that I already have my text. So I'm going to start placing that within that rectangle. So I'll select the first lot of text that I've got, and I'm going to move that down to the bottom. And then I'm also going to take the established 12th of December text down and put that underneath that. And I'll centre it as much as possible, which will make it a little bit easier when I go to place this on the glass. Okay, now the surname I'm not going to be putting inside the frame because that's actually going to be going across the monogram letter. So next I need to create the monogram letter, and I'm going to be using the Sugar and Spice font from the Creative Memories Storks Delivery cartridge. So I've selected Hide, Shift the lock images so I can get the capital P. So I'm going to click that and drag that over to the mat. And now I need to resize that, and from playing around with this earlier, I know that I need that to be about 6 inches wide, so I'm going to drag that out to about 6 inches. A little bit more doesn't matter. Again, I'll centre that, and then I'm just going to actually make it a little bit longer. So I'll just drag that down like that. And now I need to split the letter. So to do that, I'm going to go back to the Cricut Craft Room cartridge, and I'm going to select some rectangles from there. So I'm going to click on the rectangle, I'm going to drag that to the mat, and then I'm going to resize this one, and I want that to be 6.5 inches wide by 1/4 inch in height. And I make sure that the aspect ratio lock has been switched off, otherwise I won't be able to resize the height and width individually. So that's my first rectangle. Now I'm going to copy that to the clipboard and then paste a couple of copies of it onto the mat. The third one I'm going to move down out of the way. Now these two I'm going to move over to on top of the letter P, and that's going to start the splitting of the letter. Now I place these where the first one is just towards the bottom of that curved part of the P, because that's where I want it to actually be split. Up a little bit. And I know that I want it to be at 2.75 across, just to make it even between the two borders of that rectangle. Now I need to move the second of those rectangles down a little bit further, and you'll notice that both of these rectangles have automatically welded to the letter P, and that's exactly what we do want. So we don't need to change anything there. And by doing that, they will cut out at the same time as the P. Now the third rectangle I'm going to make just a little bit longer, and then I'm also going to make the height bigger as well, and I'll make that about 600 to give me room for the surname to go across. Okay, that will do now. So I'm going to move that over, and this time we don't want this to weld, so I'm going to just place it there, and I'm going to say don't weld. Now the rectangle that I've just placed, I've put it so that it's just slightly overlapping that top rectangle, and then I need it to overlap the bottom one as well, so I need to select the bottom one and I'll move that up just slightly, and then when I click off you can see that the middle rectangle is overlapping the other two just a little bit. Now this section that we've just put in here in the middle, that's the part that's actually going to cut out, and that's how our letter becomes split. I'm just going to close the image drawer here by clicking on that arrow, and then I'll zoom this in just a little bit. And basically what you've got there is what's going to cut out when you send it to your Cricut. I'm going to select that surname, and I'm going to bring that down to the bottom because I want that to cut out at the same time. So I'll center that as best I can, and when this is cut out, you'll take that surname and you'll actually be placing that inside that gap that's been created by that middle rectangle. And that's, in a nutshell, how you create a split letter monogram in Cricut Craft Room. So have a look at the blog. There's a couple of other examples there that may interest you. I'd love to see what you can come up with yourselves. I have a linky tool on my blog, so if you'd like to show me what you've created, I would love to see it. I hope this helped, and I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you again next time.